All right. Oh, good morning. This is Justice's Waiting Room. This is a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. I am your host. My name is Jared Malott. If you need to find me, don't. But here, look, there's this app called Blue Sky. We left Twitter because Twitter is absolute dog shit. Okay. As I say that, it looks like Blue Sky is actually having some issues this morning. So go figure. That's awesome. And I just made this video, but I didn't post it yet. We're gonna post it afterwards, okay? But I wanted to start on this. Many of you know that I am a football coach, and football is like my whole life. Football and basketball, okay, are like my whole life. And if you watch the content I make in the last few days, I made a video talking about how screwed up it is that Deion Sanders' son, Shedeur Sanders, who was slated to go up um, early in the first round. I am one of those rare human beings that that when it comes to football, I'm about football, the game on the field, and I don't care if I could literally give a shit what is happening off of the field as long as the kids' grades are good and they play good on the field and they're doing the stuff the team wants them to do. Okay? Okay? I don't care about you if you're cocky. I don't care about if you're confident. I don't give a fuck about none of that. You know what I care about? What do you do when I hand you the rock, son? Oh, he put up 30 plus touchdowns in each of the last 3 seasons. Clearly, he's an elite quarterback. How lucky are we? Okay. Now, he was slated to go in the top 20 picks. So I'll give you some leeway because I thought he was supposed to go in the top 3. But people had him ranked in terms of ranking players. I heard people had him inside their top 20. So think about that before I say. And then he got drafted in the 5th fucking round to the Cleveland Browns, who had already picked a quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, and had already traded for a starter, Kenny Pickett, and have a backup, Joe Flacco. And they have spent a whole fuckload of money on Deshaun Watson, who apparently will never play again. So we need to throw that out there because I haven't been saying that. Oh, so it's only a four-man rotation. Oh, he can win that. He's better than 3 of those quarterbacks. The only one that he might have trouble getting over the hump on is Kenny, because Kenny's an athlete. Okay? So I thought it was a little fucked up that Deion Sanders' boy, Deion Sanders, by the way, was awesome in the NFL. He probably pissed the NFL off because he was a two-way professional athlete. He played football and baseball, and if you grew up in that time period, you had the same kind of goals where I wanted to play for the Chicago Bulls and the Bears when I was a kid, when I was a little guy. Okay, kids dream about that shit. Okay, yeah. Well, when you're supposed to be drafted in the top like 5 picks, I don't think you really need an agent. But that was his other son, uh, Shiloh Sanders, who I actually really like him as a safety, and he went to Tampa Bay, and he's gonna play for Todd Bowles. And don't look now, but I predict Deion Sanders' 3 boys, Travis Hunter, Shedeur, and Shiloh, will all be starters at their positions, because Travis Hunter plays both ways. But here's what I wanted to follow up with, because I made that video already, where I'm like, hey, that kind of sucks. A black quarterback supposed to be drafted in the top 10 didn't get drafted until the 5th round. That's crazy. Yeah, I know, especially Shiloh Sanders at safety, but he's going to play for Todd Bowles, who's a defensive guy. And Shiloh Sanders he's quick and he hits people. And hey, that makes money in the NFL. He's going to play special teams too. Watch. You watch. And I'm predicting Shedeur Sanders wins his quarterback competition. You know why? Because I played quarterback my whole life. I played quarterback my whole life, like adult life. You know what happens when a black quarterback decides he's going to play quarterback? You generally just get the fuck out of the way. He's probably a better athlete than you. Could probably throw it too. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then you find out if he is that. Okay. And if he's not, then I'm better than him. It's cool. I'll just start. It's good. Okay. It really happens. Okay. Now, say all that to say, what I find disturbing is that I thought it was racist. When it originally happened, I was like, that's racist as fuck. Racist against them super black babies and Dion, right? I was like, that's racist as fuck. But you know what is kind of the cherry on top of the NFL is run by racists? You know what the cherry on top is? Last night I found out that the New England Patriots charter their team jet in the offseason, and guess who's using it right now? That's right, this regime. That's right. You know all those kids that they're rounding up off the street, kidnapping and trafficking them to El Salvador and Guantanamo Bay, which, by the way, Guantanamo Bay is now, that's a concentration camp. That's right. So not only is it real racist that a kid's supposed to get drafted in the top, I'm talking first 5 picks of the first round, slides all the way to the 5th round. I was like, man, that feels racist. And then to find out within 48 hours of the conclusion of the draft that the New England Patriots charter their team jet and they've been aiding this administration in the kidnapping and trafficking of people to Guantanamo Bay. That's right. They have this thing called Flight Tracker. Yeah. Yeah. I'm an Indianapolis Colts fan. So for the record, I've hated the New England Patriots for a long fucking time. Like before they were airing up footballs or whatever. That wasn't even a thing. I wasn't even worried about that. Okay. But yeah, I just want to throw that out there. These things happened in real life. A black quarterback supposed to be drafted in the first few picks of the draft slid all the way to the 5th round. What did it cost him? You'd ask. An extra year on a contract and a fuckload of money. So they took money from him and a contract year from him, or 2. And then also, don't say fuck Trump or you're going to 15 years to see Cat. Pam Bondi says so. Yeah. So I just want to point that out. So if you are a football fan, especially if you're an AFC East fan, I believe, all the more gas. Yeah. All the more reason to give you gas to root against the Patriots. They are literally team evil, which is fucking awesome. It's great. It's terrible that they're facilitating this, but it's great. That's incorrect. How can you assess that? Now, keep in mind, quarterback, me. Quarterback coach, me. Offensive coordinator, me. Active high school coach, me. What talent did he lack? He completed 74% of his passes and threw for 30 or more touchdowns 3 seasons in a row. The numbers disagree. Sorry, I'm caught up. Somebody's completely fucking ignorant. Decision to start is racist. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. I'm not even going to let everybody see that. Yeah, I don't even know why you're here. Why are you here? There we go. So yeah, good morning. Like I said, I think that's political, right? And then you know what makes me realize, oh, we need the American Socialist Party is needed yesterday. Do you know why? Remember how I've told you I found a couple subreddits. I found a new subreddit. Okay? This is press news. Yeah, you know what the top story is right now? You know what the top story is right now? The top story right now is how Biden officials admit they never pressured Israel for a ceasefire as Israel leaders boast of playing Washington. And then Ilhan Omar says we all knew they weren't working tirelessly on a ceasefire and that it was all a lie. So remember when I was like, there will be signs. There will be signs. Jared, you got to get your shit together. Got to get this fucking party started yesterday. Okay? A lot of people are nervous, and I'm not trying to make you not nervous. It's not what we're doing here. Okay? Trying to make this is a news show. Okay? Okay? Remember, this is a news show. Goal here is news. Okay? We talked about how the country's too wide. Country's too wide. It's too big to declare martial law. First of all, in order to declare martial law and enact it, you would have to train your military to do that. Hey, I was on active duty during a time of war. Guess what they don't teach us how to do? Martial law against your own people. Does everybody get it? If you need someone with more credibility, you can talk to Daniela McKasick. She's the knitting cult lady. I'm pretty sure I'm saying her first and last name right. I'm pretty sure it's Daniela, and I'm pretty sure her last name's McKasick. Okay? She's a goddess, and she'll straight up fucking tell you, I was a captain in the army, in logistics. There's no fucking way the U.S. military would ever turn on its own people. But let's put a pin in that and read the strengthening and unleashing America's law enforcement to pursue criminals and protect innocent citizens. First of all, the title alone is fucking disturbing. What the fuck, Jack? And then I'm going to read. Is that okay? Out loud. I'll read it to you. This is an executive order. Remember, executive orders are akin to memo. Okay? And I think somebody asked in there a question, hey, Jared, what happens if the banks fail with our mortgages? Oh, that just means somebody else buys your fucking loan. Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't worry about that shit. Okay? But we're going to read this. There's not even a good fucking acronym for this shit. We'll call it wannabe martial law. Yeah, right. Hollister, I hope they can either. Okay, so these fucking idiots in power say, by the authority vested in me as a president, by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, is hereby ordered. Section 1, Purpose and Policy. Safe communities rely on the backbone and heroism of a tough and well-equipped police force. They do not. My administration is steadfastly committed to empowering state and local law enforcement to firmly police dangerous criminal behavior and protect innocent citizens, not their fucking job. Yes. When local leaders demonize law enforcement and impose legal and political handcuffs that make aggressively enforcing the law impossible, aggressively enforcing the law? When have they ever? Crime thrives and innocent citizens and small businesses owners suffer. Small businesses suffer? I always knew. Keep your mouth shut. Somebody else comment. On TikTok. Thank you. Scott in North Carolina, I don't know why you would say that to me. I haven't done anything wrong to you, and I have been to multiple protests. So let's go ahead and end this relationship right now, since you're lying on me, and you can go do that elsewhere. You ain't gonna lie on me. You know, here's the thing I've noticed with white people, and it's white people. They look for a reason to dislike someone. Mm-hmm. Hey, guess what? You're gonna have a really fucking hard time. I'm just letting you know. I have no criminal record. I'm an Eagle Scout, a Marine, and a fucking Purdue alum. I've done nothing wrong. I'm educated. I serve my country, and I have no criminal record. I'm a homeowner. I have fucking dogs and cats. I'm married. I would never fucking be unfaithful. Even the people that I know that did vote for Donald Trump, I still treat them with a modicum of respect. So I would just ask, like, if you don't really know me, and you don't, how do you dislike me, and for what? For telling the truth? For sitting here talking about the news? That's a fucked up thing. You really need to pick your enemies better. You need better enemies. You need better enemies. I fight for all of us instead of just a few, right? I just want to point out that being white means being without culture. So if you don't like me, yeah, and like, how the fuck do you have white power, YT underscore power, as your fucking screen name on TikTok, and like get away with that shit? And then I can say it. Semper Fi, brother. Was a path back for these Trump folks? Good question. So, one of the things that we learned as of the result of the election is that these motherfuckers are brainwashed. Okay. And what I did was I did some research on brainwashing, and what can you do when you got a family member or someone that you work with, and they're fucking brainwashed. And what we learned was isolate them. So remember, it kind of came down from the powers that be when the election first broke. That if you've got somebody that's still super pro Trump, fucking block, right? And so that's what you've seen me do with my space. If somebody's going to come on here and they're going to attack me, understand, none of you, none of you know me. Not a one. You couldn't claim to know me, and I wouldn't claim to know any of you. I don't know any of your names. That's how the real world works, right? And so if I don't know you and none of you can claim knowing me, how could you have beef? That doesn't make sense. You got something else going on in your life that's got you all fucked up. Hmm? That's just what that is. Hmm? Yep. I don't know why you would point your ire at me. All I'm doing is saying that the Biden administration did not pursue a ceasefire in Gaza. And Ilhan Omar agrees and says, yeah, we weren't working for a fucking ceasefire. That's not what this administration was doing. Because Bibi refused to work with the Biden administration. He waited until Trump was in power because Trump didn't want a ceasefire during Biden's term. Exactly. Now, keep in mind, I got a job seeing this administration coming. I started on January 20th. Okay. So I'll have a job right up until the very end. So I'll never be able to relate. Where I wake up and I'm, first of all, never had a problem taking shit, never had a problem, never been constipated. And also, I will have a job until the very end. I'll have money until the very end because I'm here to help people get out of their unsecured and credit card debt. And you know the best part about this? My computer broke at work, so I've been off for like the last week because the IT moves too slow for the real world. They need to fucking replace your system faster when it fails and stop dicking around and trying to get me to do a bunch of shit when I can't get a mouse, keyboard, or headset to work because the USB ports are fried and it's not even the first time that's happened. But my loving community that I've built here has been contacting me and I've been getting those voicemails. So I'll be with you. There's like 2 or 3. Hey, I'll be with you as soon as they replace my fucking work computer. Okay? And understand what I plan on doing with my money is pay my bills and build a big garden and give it away and say there are people out there that need this more than I do. I have the land and I'm able and capable. And I'll take what I need, but I'll grow much more than I have. You have plans for participating on May 1st. So tomorrow there's a LGBTQIA plus march in Washington D.C., which I imagine is nationwide. And Thursday is made General Strike U.S. And there's also protests, boycotts, and strikes. Now, as far as me actually like going, that would be a work day. I don't work until noon. I still have the show in the morning. Okay. Um, so what I've said is, in the past, like if I'm not working, I have no problem like going and participating, right? But if I have to work, it's more of a I have to think how can I best participate and work today? Because I work from home and I'm 30 minutes from protest site. Okay. So what I have said before, and I'll say it for this May Day protest, I have to work unless my computer's not here, which if it's not here, I can't work. So it has today and tomorrow to get here, and if not, I won't be working on Thursday. Okay. Now, if I'm not working on Thursday, I'm going to the protest. So there's the answer to your question. If I'm working, what I've thought about, because I'm a thinker, and I want people to go and it to go smoothly. And if I'm not able to participate, I want to be able to facilitate a protest in my city without being there. Now, I could just, for the record, sit on my hands. Okay? I could just sit on my hands and say, I produce this show every day and I get people to go to protests. That's good enough. But it's not. And so, what I've thought about doing on days that Earl, I don't even want to be friends with you. Let's just be honest. Okay? Like, I don't even. That's the dumbest shit ever. Wake up. Yeah, we all do need to be out there. So what I've thought about doing is grabbing a first aid kit and a case of water and just running it to like the steps of the state capitol, and it's like run, touch home plate and go home. Like run, set down the water, set down the first aid kit, leave a little note, "Hey, love y'all. Wanted to participate, but I got to fucking go to work, man." That is if my computer's here cuz I haven't worked in over a week. And it's not that I want to work, it's just like life and bills and my employer. But yeah, I've thought about if not, I can just run down there, throw a case of water, throw a first aid kit, right? I know you could be in violation for regular comments. Now it's live comments also. It's crazy. I never really thought about them banning people out of the comments or yeah, right. And the reason I say that is because I've been to multiple protests so far and I had it all with me. I had a backpack on full of water and a first aid kit, and it was like I was sheepish, right? I hate to be a dickhead, but I probably have a larger TikTok following than 99% of the people at these protests, right? It's more likely that they'd see and recognize me than I'd see and recognize someone else. So again, it's not like I'm nervous that people are going to recognize me. No, I'm cognizant. I've just, again, I try to make things not about me that are not about me, right? Um, so I'll go, walk around, take some video. The last time I went, um, I got a phone call on the way to the last protest from a very good friend of mine, and they begged me to come see them before I went to the protest. And then they just disclosed to me how concerned they were, how they couldn't live with themselves if something was to happen to me. It would devastate a whole community of people, and it's not just y'all on TikTok and y'all on fucking YouTube. But it's like the people that I'm friends with here, the people that I care for here, were trying to put a pew pew in my hand, trying to put money in my account in case I need bail money, and it was just like I'm an advocate of nonviolent protest, boycott, and strike, all of which falls within the First Amendment, and there's no way to punish me for that than to just, you know, shadow ban my shit, make so less people see it. So make sure that you like my content, you share this live, and that you're following me. And this audience grows. And the more it grows, the more we'll be able to get the word out. Okay? Well, here's the thing, Albie, and I want to make sure that we keep saying it too, because there's a reason I'm able to get on here every day and I'm not just sobbing and having panic attacks the whole fucking time. He's a failure. Donald Trump is an abject motherfucking failure. Like 93% of the executive orders and presidential orders that he's laid are not going to go into effect. They're not going to do anything. And I know that that is a difficult fucking pill to swallow. But that actually makes it fucking worse. I know that on the one, it's like two sides of a coin, right? On the one hand, you're just like, they're not doing anything. Everything they try to do is fucking illegal, and some federal judge is not giving up their lifetime appointment for Donald J. Trump. I'm outliving him. I'm fucking ruling against that. Okay. So know that largely that's been happening. Okay. Oh, Zeke, I'll tell you why. Because he's fucking lazy. Somebody said, how is he born with wealth and not fit like Bezos? Because he has terrible habits. Oh, for sure, Jack. For sure. Trump hater. This isn't about disliking Donald Trump. This is about accurately speaking on that man. You understand? There's whole levels to this. You get it? I'm past emotions with Donald J. Trump. We're beyond how I fucking feel about a man. Good to go? There's zero of that. I have none. You want to talk about like disliking someone? Do you know what level of disliking someone you get to where you no longer feel shit? No, Trump derangement syndrome are the people obsessed with Donald Trump that are on his side. Y'all think you can co-opt shit they are classifying you with and put it at people that don't like Trump. Trump derangement syndrome is classified for the people that are on Donald Trump's side. So you trying to pin that on someone who dislikes him is fucking hilarious and makes you look really stupid. Just throwing that out there. Trump derangement syndrome is the people that are still Team Trump. Have you seen them? They look like extras from the circus. Ooh, look at the fucking questions on TikTok not being complete ass. Somebody said, What's your best piece of life advice? I'm gonna just start talking. Our greatest glory is not in never failing, but in rising each time we fall. I can't remember who said it. I want to say Confucius? Our greatest glory is not in never failing, right? But in rising each time you fall. Life is going to happen. You know how that, like, people keep saying they're getting kicked when they're down. I try to coach my athletes. Um, okay, good guy. That's a personal attack. Hmm. Oh, by the way, there was a Marine somewhere. Hold on. Gildan Turner. 3-2 Weapons Company here. Simplify. Simplify, brother. So, what are we talking about? Yeah. Our greatest glory is not in never failing, but in rising each time we fall. I'll tell you about my football coaching. I don't scream at my kids. I don't yell at my kids. I don't jump up and down. I don't clap them real hard on the back. I don't push them. I don't do none of that shit. I cheer them on. When they make mistakes, I'm like, dang, that sucks, man. Try again. It's not that deep. It's just a game. And you'd be surprised how when kids realize that I'm not going to lose my cool. I'm not going to scream or throw shit or quit on them or whatever. Coach, throw my clipboard. I don't know what the fuck shitty coaches do. I ain't one. Okay? And what I just do is I talk to them about what you could have done better and how I'm not going away from you. I'm not going to run the ball away from you because you had a bad play. I'm going to run the ball right the fuck at you, and I need you to do your job. Do you understand? They're like, fuck yeah, man, I'm in. I'm like, okay. I'm not mad that you made a mistake. It's a goddamn game. You're going to make mistakes. What I want to see you do is keep your head in the fight, right? Stay in the game, the whole game. Play the whole game. Don't give up halfway through because you're losing. Play the whole fucking game. Then get to the end. Then tell me how I feel. Now understand, I had kids playing both ways. Oh, the whole game, every down. Okay, Iron Men, guys that had to show up and work out like they're trying to play at the next level. And I told them, you'll never get to play at the next level. We're playing 8v8 football. We don't even have enough people for a fucking 11-on-11 team. We only have like 19 kids. Can't play 11-on-11. No college coach is coming to watch 8v8. We're playing the Indiana Deaf School and shit. No offense to the deaf kids, they beat our ass. Okay? But yeah. One of the things that I don't do is I don't wear a whistle. The whistle's not helping the kid in the game. The whistle's not helping the kid in real life. Because the whistle only stops the play during a contest. So why use it to do anything else other than to stop play during a contest? So as a result, our practices tend to have better flow because I'm not a control freak. I'm watching my quarterback warm up, right? 5 yards, 10 yards, 15 yards, 20 yards, 25 yards, and start moving and throwing. And once I see my quarterbacks warm, then I start looking around at everyone else because who matters here? Who has to have their shit in one sock when a football practice starts? The fucking quarterback and the center. The center and the quarterback. The center quarterback exchange is like vital. And it might be the most important thing. What is the most important thing in life that you wish was universally accepted? Socialism. The problem is that we've gave all our money to the billionaires thinking it would trickle down, and that turned out to be a goddamn lie. Okay? So the most important thing that I've learned in life that I wish everyone was just like, yeah, that's fucking rad, is socialism. Okay? First of all, I'm the founder of the American Socialist Party, so not only do I think it's the most important thing, but I'm doing the fucking thing. Okay? I'm pro equality. Okay? And there's this police officer, his name's Patrick Skinner. Okay? He left the military and became a policeman, uh and he said we either all matter or none of us do. And he may be like a white cis male and shit like that, but he's like I hate to say it, he's like a good cop, but I have those blinders on. My entire family's law enforcement, and I'm not talking like your county cops, your fucking your deputies treating people like shit. No, one of my cousins worked for the DEA. My uncle was a fucking chief of police in Rising Sun, Indiana, and was the first canine officer in Indiana. In fact, I went to his fucking dog's funeral, Arthur, when Arthur died. It was insane. There was 20,000 fucking people there at a funeral for a dog. So I have this part of my brain that's still like, you can be a cop and not be an asshole. Oh, Big Rigs, talking tough, doing absolutely goddamn nothing. 8 followers, buddy. Socialism is a disease. Socialism refers to any egalitarian or pro-equality movement, whether it be a social theory or economic theory or political theory, centered on seizing the means of production and the social ownership of business. I'm a syndicalist socialist, which means that I'm also pro-union, and I think the way you achieve those things that you're confused about, the seizure of the means of production, the social ownership of business, within the confines of the United States, however could that work? Well, largely, shit would stay the same for most people. A lot of people ask about the money first, right? Jared, how does the economy work? Well, the socialist economic theory says that rent, interest, and taxes are derivative of your labor and should be lowered or limited or removed altogether. Hey, guess what? I don't have any credit cards and I'm a fucking homeowner. So guess what? Rent and fucking interest, they don't bother me. So again, I'm a socialist and the shit doesn't even directly affect me. I just I want everyone to have universal health care, education, income, and housing. And you say it's a disease, that's crazy because Harvard went tuition free. If your family makes less than 100 grand, you get books and tuition free. And then, hey, so there's your social education. As far as socialized income, they've done that too. Yeah, the VA healthcare, I don't have to pay out of pocket for healthcare. I go to my appointment, I get through my appointment, and I leave, and I don't have a bill. Yeah, it works awesome. It's worked for me for like 17 years. Again, I don't understand. But you do have 8 in your thing, so that says way more about you than it could ever say about me. He says nothing is free. Pink Rebel, nothing is free. Except that socialism, so universal healthcare, education, income, and housing, would save most people more than $2,000 a month. So it'd save you like 16 grand over the course of the year, and it only costs you a couple $1,000s in the end when you go to file your taxes. So it'd either be a slight change to the tax code, or we could just federally legalize cannabis. As it turns out, it's a cash crop. It makes oodles of American dollars, and it could fund socialism. hmm You're asking stupid questions. Taxes pay for it, and I just explained that. Like, you type that out and hit enter after I explained it. You should have just deleted that. Moving along. When you asked questions I already answered, and you were here for that, you're out of here. You're being flippant. That's not how you have a conversation with somebody. Thank you. Taxes. Just like they do now, except instead of going to billionaires, it goes to your fucking healthcare. Isn't that a novel fucking concept? How about we stop giving all our tax money to fucking billionaires and instead use it to, I don't know, keep ourselves alive and out of debt and out of hawk? Gee, I don't know. Maybe I'll think of some other fucking great ideas while I sit here. But understand there's like one person said socialism is a disease. And they're stupid. That person's an idiot. They have 88 in their fucking handle. That means that they're also a white supremacist. And what are white people fucking supreme at? Being fucking boring! I'm gonna go back to reading this dipshit ass presidential order. When local leaders deem... No, we already did that. Okay, hold on. My administration will therefore establish best practices at the state and local levels for cities to unleash high-impact local police forces, protect and defend law enforcement officers wrongly accused and abused by state or local officials, and surge resources to officers in need. My administration will work to ensure that law enforcement officers across America focus on ending crime, not pursuing harmful, illegal race and sex-based equity policies. The result will be a law-abiding society in which tenacious law enforcement officers protect the innocent. Violations of law are not tolerated in American communities that are safely enjoyed by all their citizens again. I just want to make everyone aware that that's not what the police do. The police protect property. They're not crime stoppers. Second, legal defense of law enforcement officers. The Attorney General shall take all appropriate action to create a mechanism to provide legal resources and indemnification to law enforcement officers who unjustly incur expenses and liabilities for actions taken during the performance of their official duties to enforce the law. This mechanism shall include the use of private sector pro bono assistance for such law enforcement officers. Holy shit. I'm not going to read all of it. I'm not reading all of it. I'm on back. Okay. I'm not gonna read all of it because this shit's not gonna happen. Okay. That's just an executive order. Okay. Yeah. Right. It is scary as fuck. So I want to make sure that I validate your fear and that I tell you that if you think that is scary, you are correct. If you think that is anything other than an aberration, something that is not that is never going to happen. It's already happened. That shit already happened. Actually, they already militarized the police and they already have fucking qualified immunity. Okay? And I have peers, guys I went to high school with, guys I've worked with that are cops, and they think they deserve that and need that. Okay? Yeah. I'm not reading that shit. It's scary, and it's also not going to fucking happen. Executive orders are not laws. Okay? These people that y'all kinda fucking elected are dumb as fuck. All the Donald Trump's cabinet picks, I'm starting to see why the Democrats went ahead and said, yeah, Pam Bondi, she could be the AG. Sure. Hegseth? Yeah, he could be SecDef. Uh-huh. Because they're dumb. And they operate on fear. And their backers, the AI pack, might actually be worse people. I don't know if you saw this video from this morning where I saw, let's see. There's this video. Oh, wait. I got to share this. So, remember how when Joe Biden was president, the White House, I don't know, there was like a rose garden. That's what I remember about it. Yeah. Here. Here you go. Here's what Donald Trump's White House lawn looks like. Yeah, that's right. Those are pictures of all the people he had kidnapped and trafficked to foreign countries and concentration camps. You see the land along the Mexico border that 47 is deemed a military base. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, I gotta read this headline because it's fucking hilarious. I mean, it's not hilarious. It's awful. RFK Jr. to end Godsend Narcan program that helped reduce overdose deaths, despite the fact that RFK Jr. had a past heroin addiction. So again, when you are, I know that there's a lot of us sit around all day and like, how do these people get their job? They're fucking awful. Being complicit and dumb is how. Okay. And remember that cruelty is the whole point. And also, I just want to give validity to all the polls about Donald Trump, especially all of the polls that say that Donald Trump has negative approval ratings. And the reason that I bring that up and put that link in the comments is because Donald Trump it cannot handle people speaking ill of him and has decided to investigate the people producing these polls. I just want to make sure that everyone knows that Donald Trump cannot arrest all of us. Okay? Can't arrest all of us. Oh, and you remember how I said it only makes sense? Like, if you are anti-immigrant, that only makes sense if you're if you're like an American Indian. You know why you don't ever see American Indians? Um, you know why you don't? Because they're getting fucking murdered. So I know that was not the story you thought it was gonna be, but yeah, the reason you don't ever hear anyone speak out that's an American Indian, and you're like, oh look, it's an American Indian that's anti-immigrant. That at least makes sense. Um, I just want to point out that that's because there's an epidemic of Indian women, and I mean feather not dot, being murdered. Kyle said his own propaganda news network ran their own poll, and the numbers were almost identical. Brody, I'm one of those. Yeah. Wait, you're an American Indian that's anti-immigrant? What? I didn't see. At least it makes sense. Oh, have you noticed in the last like week, Donald Trump's been attacking Fox News, and it's like, is he biting the hand that feeds him? Because they really do. But one of the things that I learned today that I'm like, oh, that helps us, is we learned today that the Biden administration was not pursuing a ceasefire in Gaza. And so when you wonder why this administration, why that prior administration was not able to capture the presidency, that's why. 100% why. What we needed during this last election cycle was we needed a candidate who was going to say, we're going to stand up to Trump and his regime. We're going to make sure that we support not only a peaceful transition of power, but we're going to make sure we hold people accountable for past actions, right? You say that, and also say fucking free Palestine, like yesterday. Mm-hmm. And I just want to make sure that if you are a Democrat still, and you're still super fucking Democrat, I just want you to know, I think that's lazy. That's lazy. I think the Republican Party is going to die. I think at some point there is a split between MAGA and the rest of the Republican Party. And oh, by the way, without MAGA, the Republican Party is broke and they have no leadership. They are basically a rudderless boat without Donald Trump. And that will be the death of the Republican Party. And when I say death, I don't mean that they'll cease to exist. Oh, they'll exist. But they are going to get their asses handed to them in every election forever. And the problem is, if I see this regime as like the death of the Republican Party, you don't want a uniparty. You don't want a party that just decimates politics because there isn't a good challenger. So what we need is the American Socialist Party in the United States to push Democrats from the left. Mm-hmm. Yep. You see all that infighting in the Democratic Party? You see all the, again, I see that there are multiple heads at the top of the Democratic Party, and that tells me that there's no true leader. The Democratic Party does not have an outspoken leader. It has people showing you leadership qualities, right? Cory Booker and Hakeem Jeffries sitting on the steps of the U.S. Capitol, bringing attention to the budget that's going to be voted on this week. That's going to cut almost $200 billion out of the fucking Medicaid fund. And oh, by the way, that means a whole bunch of people die. And I'm just making sure that if you're still over here cheerleading this administration as they kill your grandparents, remember, I'm the one that told you, hey, don't vote for these people. You don't vote for people that want to end benefits. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, and that affects my mother. Okay. I tried to tell my mom, hey, he's going to cut SNAP, Medicare, Medicaid. You work in a hospital for old people, like a nursing home hospital. What do you think happens when they cut Medicaid funding, cut Medicare funding? Oh, you want to know what happens? The hospital stops functioning and all the employees leave and go get a job elsewhere. And all those people that my mom works at the Franklin Methodist Home, which again is a nursing community with a hospital, and it's got an ER and an operating hospital across the street. Okay. I've told my mother for a long time, who refused to get a job anywhere else, hey, what do you think happens when Donald Trump and his administration cuts Medicaid? They leave those people there to die. It's like the scene. I can't remember the show. So somebody's gonna have to tell me. But there's a TV show that I watched where they come up on a nursing community, And I want to say it's Walking Dead. They come up on a nursing community. She's basically a candy striper. Um, I mean, she passed out meds. She's like a QMA. I wouldn't say love. You know what I mean? It doesn't pay for shit. She gets treated like shit. Yeah. She's you know, you can obviously tell she's just set in her ways. You know, she's unhelpable or beyond help. hmm It's just part of life, you know. But we had those conversations before the election where I said, "What are you gonna do?" And she's like, "Well, that won't happen." And it's just like that's crazy to say. I won't know. I don't know if it's gonna happen or not, but the possibility of it happening. See, Carol Sue says 2 hospitals in Pennsylvania just closed in a busy area. But you know what is gonna be our downfall? It's not gonna be. It's not gonna be this administration. You know what it's gonna be? Pride. Pride will be our downfall because what's going to happen is a whole bunch of people's careers and jobs are just going to fucking stop overnight. And those people, burp, those people voted for this administration and their pride's going to choke them up and they won't be able to ask for help and until it's too late. So just like my mom, there'll be other people whose jobs just get overnight. What are you supposed to do? Pride will actually be what hurts a lot of people. Kat said my mom has stage 4 cancer and voted for this. I can't imagine. I can't imagine. We talk about Morgan what? Somebody said so when did he say he was cutting any of that? I am sure the fraud and waste are worse. So Morgan, let's look at Morgan today. Glennie. Um, when you cut the Medicaid budget by $181 billion, exactly where do you think those cuts come from? I'll tell you, they come from the pockets of the people receiving the benefits. When those benefits get cut, how does the hospital supposed to keep someone when they can't when there's no way to pay? They don't have the money and they don't have the support. They get fucking kicked out of the fucking hospital. Have you ever been into a hospital before? No pay, no pay, no service. They just put you in a hallway somewhere. Did you not have to go to the hospital during COVID? Lucky you. Lucky you. I do have some empathy for the record. There's a reason that I started this show and I put my face on it is because I have empathy. If I didn't have any empathy, I wouldn't be able to show my fucking face. People would hate my fucking guts for real. But I've said since before this fucking election that my fear is not that Donald Trump's gonna hurt our fucking fifis. My fear is all of the people that Donald Trump doesn't see as people that are going to unnecessarily die. That's the problem. So people is like somebody said, he didn't say he was going to cut funding to hospitals, jarhead. What do you think happens when you cut the Medicaid budget by 200 billion? Who don't get paid? Do you understand? Ting! Hospitals can't function without Medicare employees will be cut, and we already have a nursing shortage. So, fraud and waste are not worse than human death. Say it with me. Fraud, waste, and abuse. Human life. Fraud, waste, and abuse. Human life. Say it with me. Fraud, waste, and abuse. Human life. Do you understand? There's 0 people. I am willing to sacrifice 0 people for fraud, waste, and abuse. Do you understand that? I think it's pretty plain. Oh, you know how Donald Trump's like a lying piece of shit? Uh, Donald Trump says that he has trade deals with 200 countries. Which means he has trade deals with none of those countries. Exodus at DOJ Civil Rights Division, as officials say over 100 attorneys have departed. And my question will always be, and because people think when people leave somewhere that that's the end for them and they don't get a job elsewhere. So my question would be, are you real sad about 100 attorneys leaving? Yes, Chrissy. I'll put it like this. I live a few minutes away from a grocery store yesterday, Monday. So think about the day of the week, Chrissy. Yesterday was a fucking Monday at after work hours. So it was like 5:30, 6 o'clock. I went to my Meijer and it was a fucking zoo. So I told my wife what we're not going to do is panic buy. But what we went ahead and did is we went ahead and doubled up a grocery order. So we just got groceries a few days ago. We went ahead and did it again. So we got toilet paper and paper towels, just one extra thing of them. Okay, toilet paper and paper towels, and we get Factor for most of our meals, and we've kind of been stockpiling Factor meals. Okay, like freeze them as soon as you get them, and they last longer and shit. So you get to eat like good food for a meal. That's what I'm gonna have for lunch today. By the way, I'm big fan of Factor, especially if there's like, it's probably not great if there's like 15 people in your house, but if it's just a couple, yeah. Old school Evelyn said the lies that come from him and his administration are mind-boggling. Yeah, what is a Factor meal? Okay, Janice. So there's this service called HelloFresh, which I loved. And this isn't an ad. I ain't getting paid by none of these people. Okay. Um, I want to keep calling it Happy Fresh. Hello Fresh. They send it to you in pieces, and you cook your own food. I loved it. It was great. Is about $15-16 a meal per person. That's not bad. Okay. HelloFresh is fine. But the problem is that both of my wife work and we don't work the same schedule. So if I'm cooking a meal for us, it's her plate is sitting in the microwave until she's ready to eat. Or I'm waiting on eating until we can cook and eat together. Okay? Factor though, factor the meal's already prepared. The quality is just as high as what you'd be able to produce using HelloFresh's food. And it comes in a container. You microwave it for 5 minutes or less. And even last night, somebody said HelloFresh owns Factor. Good for them. Okay. Last night had one of my favorite. It's called green chili chicken. So it has obviously green chilies, but it had a big ass, fat ass chicken breast with sauce, and it had two little sides. And I was telling my wife, like the sides are really good on this green chili chicken. Okay, sides are really good on this green chili chicken. But this fucking chicken breast was thick as that was a thick boy. Okay, so yeah, it comes directly to your door. Um, it's already prepared. Um, it is. Green chili chicken is so good. Um, and the only thing I've said is there's a couple meals I've had from Factor where I'm like, oh, this is triggering my brain from when my wife and I went to Orlando many moons ago, and we stayed at like an all-inclusive resort where they don't season their food for fuck because white people can't stand it. So you either got to be prepared to season your own food, or there's been a couple meals that I've gotten from Factor that I'm dead ass. I was gonna throw this shit away. I was like, this is so fucking bland. I'm telling you, just a skosh of fucking salt on my Factor meals, and I even had to go back and look at the nutritional information to make sure it wasn't already super salty and I'm just a fucking idiot. And it turns out that like they don't put a lot of added salt in Factor meals. That's a good thing. So that you could season them and they actually fucking hit for you. Um and I don't a Factor meal. Not all of them, Zeke. Not all of them. I don't want to give anyone the impression that you have to season every meal from Factor. I do not want to give that impression. Maybe there are a couple other meals that y'all throw some salt on that. And you'll taste it and you'll be like, it wasn't the green chili chicken. No, I did not have to season that. But what it did was it allows my wife and I to break the rules of time. Far too I want to say often and frequently, but far too often and frequently, like I don't have the time to take off, like out of work, cook us a meal, and sit down and eat. You know what I mean? I do get an hour to eat, but hey, man, that's one strict hour, right? It's not that easy. Okay, so Factor lets us cheat, and it'll be like, oh, my wife's on her way home from work. I'll go ahead and heat my meal up. It'll be cooling when she gets here. She gets in the door, changes clothes, runs back, throws her meal in the microwave. Then, as my meal becomes eatable, hers is cooling, and we're actually able to eat without that whole, 45 minutes of prep. Okay? So what it allowed us to do is eat an additional meal together a day, which ends up being one instead of zero, right? Because obviously we don't eat breakfast together because we're up at 4 a.m. She's out the door by 6:30. Okay, and then I'm on this show at 8, and then for lunch, obviously we're both at work. Okay, but I say all that stuff to say, like that's how we're combating um, grocery stores. Is I'm going to grow a garden. We get Factor and we freeze them so we have them backed up 2-3 weeks of fucking Factor meals. Okay? And again, I'm one of those people that I'm just going to throw this out there and say, don't get into prepping. This shit is not going to be forever. White people cannot handle when shit does not go their way. I'm telling you. Empty shelves in a grocery store, over. Shit's over. People are going to be knocking on the fucking White House door. Like, yo, Don, what the fuck? Tell me I'm lying. Look at the ports. Look at Seattle. Look at LA. Empty. How long do you think it takes to hit the shelves? Within a week. I asked the question and I also know the answer. It takes about a week. Okay? So what I would do is I'm not telling you to get into canning yet and get into fucking survival mode. Bro, this isn't The Last of Us. Although that movie's fucking awesome. And that game's fucking awesome. And that show's fucking awesome. Okay? Or that show and that game, by the way. The Last of Us and Last of Us 2. Two of the better video games you'll ever play. Also has one of my favorite scenes ever in a video game. I'm going to set this up for you. So you remember, you remember how I told you I keep having this dream where I wake up on a cold hallway floor. I look ahead and there's darkness. I look behind me, there's darkness. I look to my right, there's darkness. But to my left, at the end of the hallway, is a light coming out of a room. And so as I'm asphyxiating and losing consciousness, I army crawl to the end of the hallway and look in the door just as I go to pass out and see someone like a medical patient in a bed with an oxygen mask on. They're not saying anything to me. They just beckon me to crawl to them. And I do the best I can to crawl to them, about to die. And they give me their mask. And that's how I ultimately... Oh yeah, Zeke. Spoiler alert for a lot of people that not only are not gamers, but yeah, that's one of the things I need to talk about more, because along the lines of self-care, anytime I notice that I got a bunch of people watching me, I default to, hey, we got to live a healthy lifestyle, because the bad guys don't do that. The stormtroopers do not take naps. Okay? You got to get 8 hours of sleep a night. You probably need to take a nap. You need to drink water. You need to hydrate. You need to exercise. Okay? Control what you can control. Know that you could fucking panic. You could do whatever you want. Your reaction to this regime could be whatever you want. But if it's not on staying ready, if what you're doing isn't staying prepared for whatever is ahead of us, okay, that's a bad decision. That's a bad line of decision making. Okay, so know that I'm only saying don't get into canning and don't freak out and become a prepper, because as I've said before, there's way too many people in the United States and they're gonna freak the fuck out, and there's no way that this will persist. And oh, by the way, on the same day that Donald Trump puts out martial law light as a fucking executive order, did you know Donald Trump was threatened with, or not threatened with impeachment, but he was, articles of impeachment were filed yesterday over like 7 different charges, including tyranny? You didn't know that because you were hyper fixated. You were hyper fixated on ting ting. Yeah, but here's the thing about Last of Us 2, Zeke. It's even worse, bro. They did Joel dirty, right? Like Joel dies. And then you find you find Ellie's best friend and they're enemies. And she haunts her the whole fucking game. And it's even the worst. Spoiler alert. In the end of the game, you have this fucking epic duel, and you're like, there's no way I'm letting this bitch. Lets her get in the boat and float the fuck away? Yeah, that's the end of Last of Us 2. Just throwing that out there. Yeah, it's fuck. The fucking game. Oh, those fucking games. But Last of Us 2 has the best scene ever in a video game. In the end of the first one, you have gone through hell. And you get to the end of the first game and you're in this hospital and it's the same room that I keep dreaming about, except the whole window's been blown open and you can see where all the animals have escaped from the zoo and you're just watching giraffes walk by, elephants walk by. I can't remember the exact animals, so I'm making it up now. But yeah, you're looking out and it's just peaceful for a moment, and there's zombies. It's a fucking zombie video game. But got a whole bunch in here. Got a whole bunch in here today. We keep growing every day. And I think we got to talk about how the Liberal Party won in Canada, and that's good. That's good for us because that's good for us because the I think they're Conservative Party is what they're called. The Conservative Party in Canada are Trumpers. And so that helps us. And I did say that out loud too, right? Ooh. Ooh. Did you know tens of thousands of Los Angeles County workers have begun a 2-day strike? Did you know that? I didn't know that. I think, good question, Albie. I think once Donald Trump has either muerte'd or he's been like impeached, that's when the fun begins. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm just making sure that I say protest, boycott, and strike non-violently. Please and thank you. When this is a war of attrition, understand the people that you're up against, they have really bad habits. So not only are they terrible fucking people, but they got the worst habits. They don't sleep 8 hours a night. Okay? They don't fucking believe in naps. They don't believe in rest. Okay? They don't drink water. Look at fucking Pete Hegseth drinking booze while he takes questions from the press when he got announced as SecDef. They don't eat right. Look at Donald Trump's fat ass eating fucking Mackie Doos after midnight. Keep on living life for life. I did not. That's why they're there. These are art. So I had a friend that he was one of those guys that got a 3D printer, right? And he made these 3D printed American flags. See them? They were just 3D printed American flags. And he called me out to his house one time. And he was like, hey, I've been taking these American flags to the farmer's market and try to sell them at, $50 to $75. And I was like, how's it going? And he was like, they hardly sell. And I was like, oh, that sucks. And he's like, yeah, so I just have a bunch of them sitting around. I was like, fuck, what are you going to do? And he's like, I don't know, but here on a bunch of them, it only printed like this much. And so this whole part was not burnt. And so I'm just looking at this. And I said, how much money you got? And he's like, well, I still work a day job. My wife works too. And then I've started selling these. So like, I got a little money. Why? And I said, you need to look into fair use and getting permission to produce these logos on these flags and sell them for 4 or 5 times that. And he listened to me. He got permission to reproduce the logos, and he sold them. This was years ago. He sold them at like farmers markets, you know. And he came to me. He came to my house to thank me after he'd made a little side project for himself. And he said, I want to give these to you. And I said, why? And he said, because without you, I would have just given up. And I said, let me just pay you for them. And so I think I paid him $150 a piece, which was a steal because he was selling these for like $350, $450, and they were selling. And he said he'd sell like 50 of them on a weekend. So when you do it, a little math in your head, worth it? Yes. But again, one of the things that I'm seeing in the YouTube comments are people saying, "Well, if Donald Trump leaves, then it's just JB." No, if Donald Trump leaves, okay, then the party starts. All the things that, you know, law enforcement was scared to do, you know, because Donald Trump's got them all on the payroll. Now, how come the top one isn't lined up? Ooh, it's a good question too. So, those 3 flags are held up by one nail. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that the nail fell out. I didn't know how that could even happen. Okay. So they're held up by one screw, and I had to have them offset so they just sit there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But understand, Donald Trump operates in fear, and no one's afraid of JD Vance. Okay. So I know a lot of people are scared of what happens if Donald Trump's not the president, and they're like, "Oh no, then it's just JD Vance." It's like nobody gives a fuck. Even Republicans don't like him. He's a dumbass. He's really, and there's better words. But dumbass seems to, you know what I'm saying? Yes, Cece, yes. So again, you have to understand, I have to stay myself from that making me happy. Knowing that not only when DJT is no longer POTUS or Muertes, for the record, that will be a national holiday. Probably the world's first recognized holiday. Okay. Yeah, but they're scared of Donald Trump. And they're also turning on him. And he's also a turncoat and motherfucker. That's one thing I've already not understood about the bootlickers that are still around him is like he treats people like shit though. Like, hey, I'm one of those people. You can treat me bad. You can treat me bad once, one time. You will likely never fucking see me again afterward. But you could treat me bad. But I'll never fucking work with you again or for you. So I could just never understand these people that don't like Donald Trump, but they wake up and start kissing boot as soon. kissing a ring and licking boot and bending a knee as soon as you wake up? Pam Bondi. Hegseth. Fucking Tulsi Gabbard. Holy shit, she's a Russian and an Israeli asset. She's an Israeli asset. Okay? But as I've said this whole time, I think the powers that be, you could point to the Illuminati. I don't care. The powers that be decided it costs less people if you just let him be president. He won't make it a year. And somebody somewhere. No. Hey, Janice. Calling somebody a bootlicker or a ring kisser or a knee bender, that's not a shot at their sexuality. What about the 2025 oligarchs? Should we be concerned about? Well, we've decided. Here's the thing. All of those people that were standing in the rotunda when Donald Trump was inaugurated, all those people own companies that I've sat here and told you stop using Facebook Threads, IG, WhatsApp, Messenger, get fucking Twitter, and stop using Amazon. Get all those things off your phone. And their stock has fucking crumbled. Their net worth crumbled. Their power gone. Because without money, they have no actual power. Right? Without those oligarchs, and remember, Elise Stepanek, who is a Democrat, by the way, and a CIA plant, said only smart people on the coasts know what an oligarch is. We need to call them what they are, which is kings. I ain't calling no one a fucking king. Not on this playthrough. Somebody said, I'm so glad I did all those suggestions. You were correct. Hey, right? Nonviolent protest, boycott, and strike. And I don't use those things either. So I'm not one of those people to tell you to do something and then do something else. That's piss poor leadership. Okay? I stopped using Facebook Threads and IG. You know why? Because I got tired of losing fucking friends. All the fuck ever happened when I went on Facebook Threads or IG is I would learn something about somebody that I didn't already know. And just have to be like, what the fuck? Blocked. Like, holy shit, I don't want them in my life. They're dangerous. Knee bender's a good one. Yeah. Yep. And remember, you know that I've not sat here and shit on Trump fans. Yes, I block people who have 88 in their fucking screen name and antagonize me in the comments. But I don't, you notice I don't make content shitting on Trumpers? It's because you're invisible. You don't fucking exist to me. Remember, right before the election, a social media firm did an audit of Donald Trump and Elon Musk's social media followings, and they found that 90% of their following is fake. Bots. Even some of the real people that follow them are bots. Exactly, old school. I'm with you. For me, it was Twitter. That was my love. You got to understand, I because of Twitter and Reddit, specifically, when I came home from the Marine Corps, the only places that I found that I was accepted for who I am is Reddit and Twitter. And I went and got a degree in graphic design with a focus on social media and project management. I was fucking obsessed. Not in a bad way, I was capitalist just like everyone else, right? Go get an education in for an industry, right? And the cockiest thing I'll ever say, and then we gotta go. But I don't want you to be mad or think ill of me. It's just true. Graphic design and social media, like them together, are so fucking powerful that once I started making stuff for school, in my brain, because I'm a fucking anarchist, I want to see fucking chaos. That's what we deserve. My brain was like, oh, you could never go work for a big company. Nah, not produce their graphic design work, not. Too powerful. I would only ever use it for good. I would only ever use it in a situation in which I need it, right? Now, I've had that degree for over a decade and never worked in the industry. I worked in project management, but ultimately they weren't trying to pay. The level of decisions that I was making in project management and the pay were not commiserate. I would rather just go work an entry level job with low expectations and get paid based on my performance than have someone having me make big ass decisions for $45,000 a year. Bernie, in response to this, well, we had 35,000 people at this rally, 30,000, 20. I think American people aren't as dumb as they think they are. Yeah. Yeah, I want to make sure you can say oligarchy. Mm-hmm. You could say oligarchy. Mm-hmm. You're not stupid. Some of you are. Some of you are. But most of you are not stupid. You can use oligarchy. Okay? You don't have to call them kings. Okay? So hey, in terms of what it is and what it ain't, it is 9:30. Okay? Last link here. Again, I'm addicted to suppressed news. Okay. And we do have um, opening and closing songs. We just got a little excited today. So remember that we did this at the beginning of the show and not at the end. But hey, we shared the link to Edwin Starr's War. Okay, we've chosen that as like our opening song. Okay. And then same flip of a coin. At the end of the show, we play Eat the Rich from Aerosmith. Okay. So, and again, it's more showtime, less me sitting behind a graphic, twiddling my fucking thumbs, raring to go, right? Production value is not something you're gonna get here. Hey, Semper Fi, David Tompkins. Production value is something I'm not interested in. I'm here to provide news and politic chatter. And me sitting behind a graphic while a song plays is not me talking news and politics. Okay. Overproducing this for views. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Nope. We want to make a noise. We don't make too loud of a noise, draw too much of attention, right? We want just the right amount. Just want a couple MAGA to stop in every now and then to show us their dumbass and then leave, right? We don't want too much at once, right? It becomes too hard to handle, okay? But have a good rest of your day, okay? Know that I'll be here tomorrow. And remember, kids, presidential orders and executive orders are not laws. They're memos. Some of them are fucking dangerous as shit. Holy shit. But still a memo. I hope this helps. See you tomorrow.